What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Beyond the 90. Leicester City have just disappointingly, just by the smallest of margins, lost 1-0 to Manchester City. We've got a fantastic North American panel for you today. We've got Austin, Glenn, JT. But first over to you, Austin. 1-0. What do you think of the match overall?
We deserved something from that game. I thought we might not have been the best attacking until the second half when Lookman came on, but defensively we looked fine. It took just kind of an unlucky goal for them to score against us.
I will try and add in Mr. from the stadium. Rich, can you hear us? He looks like he's I don't think there's any reception there, Rich. But if you try again, mate, I'll try and add you in. But maybe when there's less people. Oh, are you there?
Hello.
I don't. We can.
Can you hear me?
I think the internet's choppy, mate. I think we're gonna have to drop you out, and if you could join later, it'd be much appreciated.
All right.
But I guess that answers that. Anyway, oh, he's back. Is he there? Can you hear us?
Can you hear me? I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, mate. How was that from the ground's perspective? Anyway.
You know what? Oh, mate, it's gutting. And
so is your internet connection. That's quite gutting. Rich, I'm going to have to drop you out, mate. I'm really
I
sorry.
don't know what it looked like on TV, but to be honest with you, it's one of those that I'm.
Can you tell we do this live? Anyway, Austin, so sorry, mate. How was the match for you anyway? Sorry about
You already went to me.
Oh, sorry. Then, Glenn, you next. I've lost my train of thought. Rich is really backfired, but don't worry, Rich. We'll have you back on soon.
Yeah, I think. I mean, right from the beginning, we nobody really knew what Brennan was going to do with the fact of the formation and who he was going to put in. There was discussions as to whether he was going to go with the 2 centre backs or the 3 centre backs, and then even when the team was announced, there was still discussions on whether it was going to be 2 or 3 centre backs as well. I thought that I thought there was a lot of cover at the back. I noticed that there was a lot of people filling in for people as Castagna moved forward slightly. Even Tielemans was and Vardy even was filling in down that back channel, and that to then allow Castagna to get back into position when he needed to. And I thought that was quite fluid at the back, and it was the best that we've looked in that back line for a while, which was challenging because there was times when it looked like Man City had like 6 in a row up front. And and it was mad. But I think what Austin said overall, disappointing. I thought that we could. Disappointing in the fact that I thought that we should have got something out of the game. I didn't think we deserved to lose. I thought that we were certainly should have got the point. But it was one of those games where either one of us could have quite easily have nicked it. I mean, we had our chances in the first half as well, but unfortunately they got their lucky break. I will say that it was put away well. But it was a lucky break from all the really good blocks that we had during the game. That one that Soyuncu had unfortunately fell the wrong way. He maybe could have done a little bit better, a little bit quicker at getting back to it. But that's been a bit maybe a bit too harsh on him, especially with the way that Soyuncu had been playing recently for both club and country. I thought he had a very good game today. So I'm hoping it doesn't knock him even more on that side of things.
Yeah, I'm hoping so, because again, we'll get on to individual performances just in a bit, because again, Soyuncu definitely want to mention. JT, I mean, we'll start with the formation. I know Glenn just mentioned it briefly. 4-2-3-1. When you first saw that coming into the match, what did you think? Do you think that was going to be a formation that worked, and how do you think overall it worked today? Because it's a formation we played against them in the Community Shield. A lot of people, including myself, would talk about a 3-5-2 today, bringing Nacho in. But how do you think because that first half, I think we definitely went toe-to-toe with Man City and did some fantastic stuff.
Yeah, I thought it looked pretty good for the most part. I think this was probably our best performance of the season, even though we have 2 wins. We just kind of looked poor. I thought the formation was pretty solid. I always thought once we saw Albrighton, I was assuming Albrighton was going to start just for defensive purposes, and him being able to work up and down that right flank the whole game. I thought he looked pretty good. And like as Glenn was talking about, being able to cover for like Castagna when he pushed up the field and the pitch and being able to give him time to get back. I thought Tielemans worked hard in that position to kind of help settle us and organize us defensively. And the partnership with Vestergaard and Söyüncü, I thought looked pretty good. I was worried coming in that we were going to get torn apart by any variety of their quality of attackers. You got they're bringing Sterling off the bench, so I thought for sure that we were going to get torn up, which I thought we looked fairly solid, which was a welcome surprise. So I was fairly happy with the performance. It was just a bit unlucky, and yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. I definitely agree that he was a bit unlucky. I mean, looking at them, the substitutions at the moment, I'll try and bring it up on stream. But again, I looked at their bench when I think it cut to about 5 or 10 minutes in, and I just went, oh my God, it was absolutely. I mean, you've got the likes of, Stones, Ake, Sterling, Zinchenko, De Bruyne, Fernandinho, Mahrez, Carson, but Foden. And I'm just thinking, I looked at them and thinking, this is just stupid. And they've just won the league with the majority of them as well. So I was just thinking that's unbelievable. But just over to you, Austin. I mean, the first there was 2 chances in the first couple of minutes. I think the 6th minute where Jesus had a chance and Schmeichel did a fantastic save, and then just after that we hit them on the counter, and there was a beautiful bit of pass. I think from Castagna to Söyüncü to Tielemans to Albrighton, then to Vardy, then Barnes missed the goal just. But I think that summed up the game, literally end-to-end football at times, and just going at it. And both teams were not afraid to go and have a go to win the game.
Yeah, I thought it was fun to watch at times, but I think also sometimes it was kind of a little bit boring. But we had our chances. I mean, especially at the end there. But I think for us, for me, it summed it up when Marty was a centimeter offside, because that's how I felt, how close we were to getting a point or winning the game. I mean, just that much. You don't know if he scores there, the whole game probably changes. And that was the most annoying thing. But I thought defensively we were fine. I mean, we were good. I was like, so YouTube was having a really good game with Vestergaard, and then his partner comes back, and we always talk about how great he is with Evans, and then of course 2 minutes later he gets a weird deflection and they score. It was just, I mean, today was just a so close day for us, and that's about how you can sum it up.
Yeah, no, I agree. And again, you look at the likes of, they've been bashing teams. I think they put 5 past Norwich, they put 5 past. So these teams, and we saw a few times, they can put a few even past ourselves. So we played, I think, fantastic football. Over to you, Glenn, in terms of there was some. I think overall we are creating some kind of some partnerships. I think over the pitch. Bearing in mind, again, just kind of on Austin's point. So some players, 3 of them did not start against Norwich, and 2 of them are just coming back from injury. Castagna is still coming back from an injury with that at the end of the day. On the right, we have Castagna, which I think did really well. Then we've got Söyüncü, again, who's had a really shaky couple of weeks. Then you've got Vestergaard, who's his first Premier League debut, and same with Ryan Bertrand. So that back 4 have not really played together, but the way they defended for the majority of the game was absolutely sensational. And just praise us be given again to the midfield. We'll get to in a second, but that back 4 was fantastic, especially against such an intense Man City side.
Yeah, you could see that it was obviously worked on, like I said before, how there was people filling in, and that as one player might have gone forward, and that we all know the fact that Söyüncü works a lot better with that experience alongside him, and that worked very well with Vestergaard, who I thought had a really good game today. I thought he was solid, and I think I tweeted out after we had a corner as well that he went up for a header. It was like, oh my God, we're challenging at a corner. It's amazing. So that was a bit of a change as well. But I thought we were pretty solid in the back line. I mean, Man City are always going to be dangerous going forward. We know that even with this so-called they haven't got a centre forward thing, that they're always going to be solid. But I mean, I thought Castagna had that right hand side done up there, and that he wasn't really caused that many problems. Grealish was trying to get down there, and he was managing to push him out wide and keep him quite well contained. And I mean, he did get a few balls in, but I think for the most part, I thought he did really well on that right. Up until the fact of that unfortunate the block and then the goal, I thought Söyüncü was having a great game as well. And then Bertrand was a bit quieter down that side, but they tended to try everything down Man City's left-hand side. But I thought he was working well then moving forward, working with Barnes at the beginning and that as well. So yeah, but pretty solid along the back line, and I thought very unfortunate to have that one goal go in against us. Yeah,
I think so. And it just, the way that we could concede that goal was not good, because at the end of the day, JT, sorry, I'm lost for words a little bit, because the first half, it was such a good game of football. We'll get on to you, and then I think we'll bring in Rich as well. But just over to you, the first half was, again, some fantastic play. And also, Wilfred and Diddy going forward was fantastic as well. I mean, obviously, you probably looked at somebody like Samora and gone, okay, if I'm going to lose my position to him, I'm going to have to do what he's doing at the same time.
Yeah, I thought the first half was quite good. All of them were working so hard, all the players, which we saw the effects of that around the time where we made our changes in the second half around the 70th minute. I was sitting downstairs saying, just watching, I was like, they look exhausted. And there was a point where it was right before we turned it on at the end with Lookman coming on, and that we started to see the effects of some of the hard work they were putting in and the shifts they were putting in the first half. But yeah, it was very end to end. Like some people might say that we were like lobbing the ball over the top or whatever, and almost, I don't know, just lobbing it up to Vardy and hoping. But it was working, and Albrighton was putting some good passes forward for us to run onto, and it was like we had our chances. Like it wasn't one of those games that we see from Man City where they completely dominate and they have 30 chances and the other team has 2. Like it was like Man City's going to create their chances. It's just how they are, how they play. They have 6 players just all along the front line, just fluid motion. It's a nightmare to defend. And but we definitely gave them a run for their money for most of the game, definitely in the first half.
Yeah, and I think the result won't speak highly of how good we played as well. Rich, we can finally hear you and we can see you, and the internet is going great, mate. Just want to get your thoughts, just generally on the ground and how it was, and what your thoughts on the match were.
Yeah, no, it was good. It was the atmosphere was really good actually. My voice is going because obviously I was screaming and shouting and all sorts. Having to shout over some 2 old fellas behind me that don't know how to play football apparently. But that's another story. But no, it was really frustrating. We had our chances. That Lookman one was, a particular one that it was just, if he'd have scored, that would have been his first touch for his first game for us and his first touch. That would have been incredible. But all in all, really, really, I'm gutted that we've lost, but also 1-0 to the champions and to a team that are, let's be honest, probably going to win again. It's not the end of the world. And I've just seen Ant actually in Ellis, and was just chatting to them, and we all agreed that, to be fair, it's probably one of the best performances we've had, ironically, all in all. So yeah, it was. I'm gutted that we've lost, but could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, definitely agree, mate. It could have been a lot worse. I'm gonna have to just mute you now for a second, mate. But thank you. But yeah, again, it's been fun. It's been thanks for that, Rick, for joining. I really appreciate it, because there's just so much. There's so much positive to take, Austin. I think even with the second half, we decided to come out and attack the game again. Vardy had an offside goal ruled out. I think it was very tight on that one. Then Barnes had a chance as well. But again, it showed the attacking intent. It's just the small margins, especially against some of these top teams, especially against the champions. That were just going to be which is gone, no worries. Which were just fantastic as well. But so them 2 chances at the beginning were it showed you that they came out second half and like, right, we're gonna have to have a go, because I think they were fantastic as well.
Yeah, I thought that when I saw us come out and have those 2 chances, I'm like, okay, it's game on here. After the first half, it was kind of like, this might not end well, but the way we came out and looked like we wanted to attack. And then I did think that Brendan waited a little too long on the subs, especially with the way that Kelechi and Adamola came on looking. I mean, we really looked like we were intent Obviously, we were a goal down, so that had something to do with it. But we looked way more dangerous in the last 20 minutes than we looked all game. And I just think that Barnes just still doesn't look like himself. He just seems he's still coming back. Madison, I don't know when we're going to see the James Madison we love, but I think right now, it's kind of hard to see why we do not have two at top because we looked so good at the end.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And we'll probably come on to them too in a bit because, again, I don't want to concentrate too much on the negatives towards the end because there's so many positives taken this, Rich, especially, again, we're talking about the back four and how they played, but also two more really good players as well. Vestergaard looks about tired, but did fantastically in the 60 minutes. Then Johnny Evans came on. Two people that have had injuries, and we've really needed them, especially for this game. Both of them came in and pretty much did their job from centre backs, from the centre backs. And I think, especially with the Europa League coming up, with Napoli, with a lot of these bigger teams as well, we're gonna need these people to kind of lift us and go forward. And both of them being fit and both of them putting in great performances against the champions of England is got to be a good sign as well.
Yeah, I mean, certainly. When you look at the fact of how much game time that both of those have had recently, it's no surprising that Evans. Well, for one, it was good to see Evans come on and get that 30 minutes, but also the fact it wasn't surprising to see Vestergaard having to come off after the hour and after the shift that he had put in. I do agree with Austin. I suppose the fact of seeing how well that the other substitutes had done once they did come on, that maybe it left it a little bit too late. I mean, you could pretty much bank your money on the fact of Brendan not doing a substitute until the 60th to 62nd minute. And it seems to be his thing to do. And then it wasn't an attacking change. It was just for the fact that Vestergaard was out of gas. And also we could get Evans on to get that 30 minutes under his belt, which is going to help medium to longer term for us as well. But no, I agree. Once that Nacho and Lookman came on, it completely changed us. But I mean, even before that, you look at I thought that in the first half with the midfield, I don't think Rodri was liking the battles. He got his yellow against Yuri. And it could have been worse as well later on. He pushed Albrighton off down the side, which, because with the new refereeing, they're tending to let those sorts of things slide at the minute. And they were looking very frustrated. And Laporte showing the same against Vardy as well. A few minutes later, him getting a yellow. And I was kind of hoping that they were going to sort of like go after them pair and try and lure them into a red as well. But they seemed to settle it down then in the second half. But we came out of the gates in that second half with the Vardy to Barnes and the Barnes header off the bar. But again, there was another one there. Laporte had a challenge on Castagna just beforehand, and I think it was only the fact that they let the advantage go on that saved him. Because that was a poor challenge after the ball had gone as well, which could have quite easily seen him with a second yellow there. Because Vardy just being offside, which I don't know what it was like. I know here in Canada we didn't get a replay of to see the lines.
Very close. It was unbelievably close.
From the angle I saw, it was like, it does look offside, but we'll go with that. But again, Vardy playing off that shoulder, taking it around the keeper and sliding it in. Did everything right apart from the fact of just being that very little bit offside, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean that defense and then moving through into the midfield. I think Madison, maybe like I say, maybe the weak link as such. I don't want to, like you said, I don't want to harp on about any real negative points, but I can certainly see why I was substituted. Put it that way.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And we will get onto that later, I promise you. But JT, I want to get a load of the positives out of the way first. Again, you as Austin and Glenn were saying, they did wait a little bit later, but when Nacho and when Lookman came on, bearing in mind it's Lookman's debut, I think but what are your opinions on both of them? Because I think both, again, you could criticize the fact that, yes, it was a 70th minute, 75th minute change. However, both of them just looked fantastic when they came on, and Lookman doesn't look like he's what did you find in his performance that really impressed you out of obviously Nacho and Lookman as well?
Lookman looks like quite a talented player. If we can, he hasn't really had the proper opportunity to show what he can do. He was playing with that hampered Fulham side for a whole season, and Everton under who even knows what manager they had when they've been struggling the past few years, even though they spend a ton of money. But this could be the perfect opportunity for him to actually progress his career, because he looks like he has quite good ability on the ball. There was times where he was just turning and blowing past players, similar, like I said, that when we signed him, he's kind of got like a turn of pace, like a quick shift, almost similar to an Eden Hazard, which that's high praise, but it's kind of the skill set that he kind of has when he receives the ball, which is impressive, and we saw that a few times. But yeah, when he first came on and Nacho set him up with that opportunity, that would have been, how amazing would that have been to make your debut and your first touch, just dink it over Ederson, putting in the goal. That would have been perfect to get, especially to get us a deserved point against the reigning champions. So I think I'm super excited to see how it goes for him. But that being said, last season Under looked good for us right from the start, but that didn't pan out. So hopefully it's not like that, and he works well with the squad, which all signs point to that working. But as for Nacho, I thought he looked really good coming on. It's really been kind of confusing why he hasn't really been playing in the first few matches. It was just boggling to me. I don't understand, because he came on and he looked really just ready to roll. Looked confident. He was taking the ball down with control, dribbling, passing. Like the one where he did set up the chance for Lookman, like an amazing really display of dribbling and control and strength, that he rode that one challenge, just shrugged the guy off, and the guy was on the floor, and he's continuing with the ball and puts in a perfect pass to Lookman. It was just great keeping from Ederson, really. But yeah, I liked both of them. It's probably a little bit late, in my opinion, for them to come on, but it's a promising thing to see with the two up top, and the possibility of having Lookman as a creative option instead of Madison or Barnes. So I'm excited for the rest of the season for those two.
Exactly, and it's a problem that we didn't. If you look at the three substitutions, obviously with Nacho, Lookman, and then even Evans to a certain extent, three players compared to last year where they're going to come into the team and make an impact. And that's something that we didn't quite, I don't think that we had last year, not to this level as well, Austin. But I want to get your thoughts. Obviously, Kelechi and Nacho, as JT was saying, fantastic player. And he was arguably, again, so many good performances. We'll get onto the midfield in a second, but Nacho, what does he have to do to start? I mean, the dude just, every time he just gives it his all, and it's not quite perfect, but you see his intent and he's not disappointed. But he just, there's so much potential in him, and I just want to see him have a run in the team, and that's one kind of disadvantage. But when he came on today, as JT was saying, it was just fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a what if. Like, what if we started with them two up top? How different that game goes. He's just so. I mean, he's like a different player, because you don't think he is as physical as he is, but he's like, I feel like he's so all around. He works off of Vardy so well, and I mean, we saw it at the end of last season, especially FA Cup. I mean, that was just a partnership that just always worked out. You knew we were going to get our goals with them two up top, and it's just so weird when we've kind of been struggling on score that we still haven't seen them two up top together. And the weird thing is, we still haven't even seen Daka yet. I mean, and it's like, and Rodgers is going to have his favorite guys, and he's going to have his favorite system. But it's like, it's shown a couple of times that it works with them two together, and especially in a game like today, like, why not go for it? I mean, you get beat 3-0. It's just how it is. But I mean, like, let's just go for it. I mean, screw it, almost at this point.
Yeah, and it's good that they did. But the thing is, they did at the end. They were like, right, we're not gonna settle back, even though we're winning 1-0. We're gonna try and go for it and smash it. And that's what I was really impressed with. Glenn, just get your thoughts on them too as well. In terms of Lookman, I think somebody out in the comment, I'll try and find it. Lookman looks so good, and I agree. Lookman did look really, really good today. And again, with the brief spell that he was on, I think there's a lot of potential that Rodgers can get out of him and take him to the next level. But what are your thoughts on the two? Because again, them two today, we'll get onto some of the midfield, but them two were fantastic as well.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think you'll see more of Nacho coming in with the Cops and be it domestic in Europe. But of course, it would mean having to change formation, and I think Brendan's pretty set, certainly at the minute, with this with the back four and the wingers. I mean, yeah, he can move it to a 4-4-2, and I'm sure that would work as well. Like Nacho just seems full of, even though he's on the bench, seems full of confidence coming on, and Austin mentioned about the fact of his strength and that as well. And so, yeah, I can see him coming on leaps and bounds, because you can't see him dropping Vardy and putting Nacho on up front on his own. It doesn't seem to work, and we've seen that before. But having him up as a two-pronged attack, then certainly, yeah, that's going to work. So then it's going to mean dropping somebody like Barnes or Maddison even, or which to be fair, on today's performances, then that's maybe not going to be a bad thing. Certainly, Lookman coming on looked fantastic. I mean, that first touch for had that been Carson in goal,
Yeah.
That may have been a bit different. Yeah, Edison came out fantastic. He saw it early and came out really well to be able to get that. And then even after that, the fact that he seemed to be all over the place, Lookman, in a good way. He was at the back making tackles and that, and playing it out, doing little 1-2s and triangles. And then he was coming in. At one point, they almost seemed as if they were sort of like inverted wingers. Them and Nacho sat behind Vardy, and they were playing around that area as well. And then he was linking up front and being part of a two up front as well. It just it was everywhere, but certainly in a good sense everywhere. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how much that we use him. Whether we're going to use him more as an impact player like today, or whether he's going to get his chance if Barnes doesn't maybe improve a little bit on the performances that we've seen.
Yeah, again, because it was the best performance of the season. Just something I want to come back to is Chrissy's comment. I know Glenn's a big fan of Chrissy as well. Don't want to sound too negative, but I think they were looking a bit stale until Brendan Rodgers changed. I think what it was just, I think personally, it was just injuries. Not injuries, sorry. It was just tiredness in the legs. You can't go and play against Man City at their speed with the quality of players they have toe to toe with them, because there's a reason why they're like 50 million, 60 million pounds. You know what I mean? So we had to pick our moments to do that. And I think they did that really, really well for the majority of the time. But I think it's something that we'll just have to continue. But JT, I think we're going to come on to, again, the midfield. I mean, some of the play, I was so impressed with the way that Tielemans, again, I think he gave the ball away a couple of times. Apart from that, he was fantastic today, getting the ball with his back to goal, breaking the play, and then just flinging in passes left, right, centre, linking up really well with Vestergaard, which I saw. Like there was a quick pass between the two of them, forwards and backwards, and breaking the play. I think he's just dropped out as well. Austin, if you join back, mate, no problem. But yeah, just your thoughts on Youri Tielemans, because I think today he was kind of back to his best. I mean, he wasn't quite that at the Norwich game, but I think this game he was back to his best.
Yeah, I think the international break kind of helped to break up our season, even though we were only 3 matches in. I think it was almost like a needed break for some of the players, and kind of, especially, and Tielemans especially. I thought he looked pretty good today. He looked back to his normal self. He looked confident on the ball, receiving it with his back to the press coming up from behind him, and he was turning, passing it out, linking up with Castagna and Albrighton on the right side. I thought he looked really, really, really getting back to his level. When Rodri put in that late challenge on his ankle, I was about to fly over to England and have some words with him, because can't do that to the star boy Youri. That's my guy. That's my favorite player. So it's really a joy to see him play. I was very pleased with how he played today, with him and Ndidi forming that double pivot, that midfield duo again. Probably one of the best in the league, if not the best. It's possible. It's just not many teams across Europe have that sort of quality between those two players. I think either of those two players get into just about any team in Europe. In my opinion, I think like there's not a team in the world that wouldn't take Youri Tielemans in their starting 11. But
yeah, and we're hoping he can sign a new contract relatively soon so that we could keep him for longer. If not, we can get a lot of money for him. But that's another conversation for another day. But Yuri, if you're watching, come on, man, do us a favor, just sign the contract. It's a perfect window otherwise. Glenn, over to you again. Same question to you in terms of breaking up the play. That's something that we've not seen Leicester City do too much. However, they've had to do that. I think in the 5-2 where they beat Man City was a massive thing where they've had to do the same thing. So in the case today, Man City came flying at us, and between, I think, the few players, I think Soyuncu did really well, Vestergaard did really well, Tielemans did really well, Castagna was really good with the play, Albrighton was involved as well. Just breaking up the play and absorbing the pressure, which is something we've not seen from Leicester too much, but we executed fantastically.
Yeah, and I mean, you're right. Certainly, when we beat them last season, it was the fact of beating that press and being able to push through the lines, and the fact, like today, with the fact of Tielemans getting the ball a lot of times with his back to goal and turning. I think Ndidi was playing a lot more. And you're used to Ndidi playing the ball sideways. And that because he's not been that confident with the fact of his passing ability. I thought he played a lot more forward today. And I mean, not all of them went right. And that's the same with any of them. But it's the fact that a lot, and I think Brendan likes the fact that they try it. And because there's going to be those ones, because some of those ones are, you know, they were inches away of being that perfect through ball. And you're in.
Last year, Brighton
Say
away.
Again?
The Brighton one away last year,
Right,
for example.
exactly. Yeah, ones like that. Yeah, and so I've got no problems with them trying it and that. And it didn't seem to me that the crowd were getting on the back for the fact of any the lost balls that were happening every now and again. I think the only time when they did was well, it wasn't so much a lost ball, but later on in the second half, towards the end, when there was a ball going down the wing, I think it was, and whoever it was turned back inside rather than going forward, and the crowd got a bit on the back because of course we've got to get used to that again now. It's the crowd's involvement, which I thought were fantastic today as well, so yeah, things like that. But yeah, I think both Tielemans and Ndidi, I thought played well with that, and I totally agree with JT. I was up on my feet when that challenge went in on him. At first, I was screaming about the fact of what was the difference between that challenge and the Perez red card. Now Perez's was a bit higher up; it was higher on the shin, to be fair. But even so, I was I had my blue tinted glasses on at that stage as well. And moving forward then with Maddison a little bit. I mean, he was good in spurts, but he was for the flair player that he is. There wasn't much to it, but I mean, he would link up a few times with Albrighton and that, but or Barnes as well. But I think there was a couple of, like, you know, somebody tweeted about the fact of how he's got to be the best with kicking that ball with the outside of his boot down the wing, and that's great for those little things, but it just wasn't quite enough for me today. But apart from that, again, I don't really want to pick too many faults with, even though it's a 1-0 loss. I don't really want to pick too many faults with it, to be honest.
Yeah, that's kind of the same thing. I don't really want to pick too many faults. However, there are, again, we'll get onto the kind of the moany bit of the section, which I think James JT first. We'll go to James Maddison. I mean, he, as I think you were saying earlier, he just hasn't looked a shadow of himself. And I'm probably going to talk to a Man City fan about this on tomorrow about the differences, for example, between Grealish and Maddison, which at one point you were like, yeah. Personally, I was like, yeah, I'd take Maddison ahead of Grealish, and now things are different. But with the squad as strong as it is, Brendan Rodgers does have his favourites, it does seem, and James Maddison is one of them. However, every time he got the ball, when we were playing at full speed, it seemed like there's a thing I was having. I was actually, but people didn't like. It was a Perez for where he'd slow the player down too much, and it seemed, and also he'd go over too easily as well. It seemed like even in this one, he's not hitting the levels that we want him to, and we just wanted to get back to that best level.
Yeah, I agree. I thought he had his moments today where he'd find a pass or something but that was after he had already slowed down the play a lot. I think he's almost overthinking and trying too hard, thinking like, I'm supposed to be one of the top creators in Europe, and every time he gets the ball, he's like, "Where's that key pass? Where's my where's my expected assist? Where's my expected goal coming from? Like it's almost like he's got like statistics running through his head. I don't know. He's just like way overthinking rather than just catch it or get it and move the ball on. Like that's what he's got to do. And you saw it a couple times, but he just looks a little bit off it. I agree, but it's not. I don't think it's for lack of effort though. Some people might call him like a luxury player. So I really don't think he is. He presses quite a bit, in my opinion, and he does tend to put in a shift and try and cut off passing lanes, which is nice because he's not just like a straight up just like Mahrez, just use your ability going forward and just stop defensively. So that part of his game is nice to have, but there's a lot of players in this squad that can do that. So if he's not on it, and he might still be trying to work his way back from this injury, his ongoing hip problems and back problems and whatever ailments he has going on, it's probably about time that he might need to be sat and then kind of be brought in, maybe in a different competition. Maybe start bringing him in Europe and bring him off the bench on the weekends in the league, and maybe that can kind of like give him a little bit of a renaissance, I guess. It's not that deep. It's not that he's not in that deep of a void right now, but so it's a little bit harsh. But yeah, I think he could use a little bit of a reset.
Yeah, and hopefully with the time we will give it, and that's the problem. I think with great players like Maddison can get to that great level, but he has to do what we know he can do week in, week out, and I think that's why the frustration is. And I think I can't remember who it was. I think or somebody on the group chat. I think it was Austin who said it's the hope that kills you, or it's Glenn. It was like the hope that kills you. I was like, that's exactly it. Just over to you, Glenn. Finally, we'll go to Harvey Barnes and we'll just close off with you as well. But Harvey Barnes, again, he's not hitting the levels we saw when Lookman came on. The energy of pace and stuff. And I think personally, without trying to make too many excuses at the same time, he's just coming back from that long-term injury as well, and he's still trying to get that. I think he will get back to his best, but it's going to take time. But luckily now we've got a replacement lined up for him. Before we were like, you have to play because we've got nobody else.
Yeah, and I think it's the same with Maddison as well. You're going about the fact of like the favourites and that we all know what Harvey Barnes has. We all know what Maddison has. It's just at the minute they're not quite hitting those areas. Brendan knows that they've got that as well. And he's obviously believes in them, and he thinks that keeping them in the team, maybe I don't know. Maddison might be the sort that if you drop him, it's going to knock his confidence and it's going to put him back a step even more. But there comes a time whereby that hard decision has to be made. I mean, today it was almost night and day with the fact of Barnes and Lookman. And of course, Lookman, he's gonna come in. He's gonna be hungry and wanting that. He also knew that he only had 20 minutes, so he could go all guns out and hasn't got to worry about blowing his tanks. So but yeah, it's going to be interesting now coming up with the cup games and that as well, domestic and European, because that's going to be the chance for the likes of maybe Samare and Lookman. And that as well, and then if they shine there, then I want Brendan to have that difficult decision to be able to then swap them out and maybe bring one of them in for as a starting 11 and see how it goes as well. I mean, what else? It can't really go that wrong. I mean, if Maddison's not hitting all fire, fire at the minute, if Barnes isn't hitting it as well, then why not change it up and have a lot? And maybe only one game, maybe one in another. But yeah, it'd be difficult to get with this game. Let's say because as a collective, I thought we played really well, even though we lost. And it may be difficult to drop somebody maybe after this game, but we'll see now with who we got up next. I forget now.
So we have Napoli on Thursday, and then we have Brighton on Sunday.
Yeah, it'd be interesting now the fact of what sort of team he's going to put out then against Napoli, knowing them that we've got Brighton as well. So yeah, again, everybody's trying to the old malarkey of trying to second guess Brendan.
Yeah, if you want more of that, make sure to go to the Maple Fox on Twitter, and you'll see all of second guess Brendan as well. So, yeah, again, apart from that, I think everybody can go disappointed. But again, that was ironically, our best performance of the season when we lost 1-0. But there's plenty of positives to take, everybody. I wouldn't worry too much about it. So thank you, everybody, for watching. If you like, subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll be back on Thursday. We'll try and get a preview in with a Napoli fan. We're still trying to sort that out because there's so much stuff happening. Make sure you tune in tomorrow as well, because the Leicester City women, for the first time in the WSL, are playing against Manchester United. So I'm going to try and get to that game as well. It should be fantastic. So James and Hannah will do their post-match on here as well. So make sure you stay tuned to that. We'll see everybody in the next video. So goodbye.